Okay everybody, welcome back to Ration Nerd. I want to thank you for taking the time to be here with me. We are going to go over an actual Ukrainian ration produced in Ukraine for their soldiers. Last week we did the ration that was purchased by Poland from Jamipsa to send to Ukraine. This is a 24-hour ration. This thing has 3,500 calories of Ukrainian goodness in it. Well, at least we hope so. So let's bust into this bag and see exactly what Ukraine provides their soldiers for a 24-hour period. I have a feeling, I'm hoping that it's going to be better than the one that I just had past Sunday, but we're going to check it out together. And on that note, if you guys like what I'm doing here on this channel, you know how it goes. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, talk to me in the chat. It is always good to hear from you guys. Now let's get into the ration. So this thing is pretty hefty. This is about 4.5 to 5 pounds. Suffice to say, this would be one heck of a thing to carry around with you throughout the day. It has definitely got some weight to it. So let's bust into this guy. See what is on offer in an actual Ukrainian 24-hour ration. That'll do okay for the wallpaper project, not too shabby. All right, let's see what we're working with here. Aha! So it looks like we have separate bags for each meal. That is something I completely forgot about, so here we go. We've got one, we've got two, and we've got 3 internal bags. Okay, so the translator says this is breakfast, so I was correct on this one, but they both say dinner. So these both translate to dinner, even though they're completely different words. They both translate on the translator to dinner. So I'm just going to take it the way that I saw it. Breakfast being the smallest meal, lunch being the heavier of the 2, and dinner being the most substantial of the 3. So I'm going to get this breakfast out onto a tray. We'll have to retranslate it once we get breakfast going. I will be right back. Alright, so since the unpacking part is by and large a lot of people's favorite portion of the video, we're just going to unpack them one at a time and get them out onto the tray together. So let's see what we are intended to have for breakfast. Alright, we have our first retort pouch of the day, and this is beans with vegetables and chicken. Man, I just had lots of beans in the last ration. But you do get a 350 gram main for breakfast. That is interesting. We have this really thin, really small booger napkin. That is certainly not, I don't even know if that's for wiping your face, especially not if your head's as big as mine. We have some of my favorite biscuits on the planet. These Tank Armor biscuits. I'm actually looking forward to these things. Great flavor, crazy texture. They're hard as all get out. We'll get into those in a sec. We have a really, holy crap, flimsy spoon. That's just shenanigans. We have 2 packs of sugar, a pack of salt, a pack of coffee, and a wet nap. That is pretty cool. So this is everything for breakfast. Pretty simple. Still not a cold drink in sight. Maybe that's just not a thing in Ukrainian rations. Maybe I was a little too hard on the Jamipsa ration for not having any cold drink options. But man, even in the wintertime, I like a good cold drink from time to time. The other thing I am not seeing is a ration heater for this guy. So I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to eat any of these meals cold. I'm going to get this thing heated up, then we'll get it out onto the tray and check it out together. I shall return. All right, and we are back. This main boiled for about 15 minutes. It did seem to leak a little bit of its contents after I boiled it, which is a little spooky. We're going to give it a try anyway. We're just going to be really careful with the sniff check, really careful with the taste test. And I did not see anything exploded on the inside of the bag, so this may have just been, maybe I boiled it just a little too long. Who knows? Maybe this is Ration Nerd's last video. I'm sure that would make some people out there in YouTube land really happy. But however, we're going to get into this guy, so let's get that coffee made. And I have no clue what I'm getting into with the Ukrainian coffee. This is going to be my first experience with Ukrainian coffee, so I'm just going to go straight on till morning by putting all that sugar in there. I was kind of hoping we had some cream for the coffee. That's a very fine spray-dried coffee. Generally, spray-dried coffee is not all that in a bag of chips, but we will give it a day in court. Where's the cream at, Ukraine? Come on, you guys are killing me. You know, I do think that other countries have it going on as far as having a cold drink, especially like a vitamin fortified or an isotonic beverage in the morning to get that hydration going for their people. But that's just not the way they have breakfast planned here. And as that started to thin out, it looked less and less attractive, so I just quit while I was ahead, hoping that at least this is a nice, sweet, good cup of coffee for breakfast. That is really hot. Ooh. Now that looks a whole lot like what I just got out of that Gymnipsa ration. Ow, God. Ooh. Oh. That's hot. Nobody needs fingerprints. Oh, all right. That's as much of that as I could get out of there. Now, here we go again. We have beans, we have carrots. Let's check out and see if we have any sausages in here. There is some kind of meat product in here. Not really sure what that is. Maybe that pack said chicken, and I haven't had a sip of that coffee yet, and my brain's not completely functional. I guess I'm going to have to go back and check out. I'm going to have to go back and check out the footage. I'm sorry, guys, but this is what you get when I'm here this early in the morning, staring down a potentially shitty cup of coffee. I don't know that yet. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but that's a cup of coffee with no cream. It's already only 2/3 of a cup of coffee, in my humble opinion. But that's just me. Your mileage may vary on coffee, if you drink it at all. If you're not, I think you might be a space alien. But anyway, that's a lot of protein, and there are a lot of calories in these 50 grams of biscuits right here. And if you like these biscuits at all, like I do, this is actually the high point of the morning. I love these Tank Armor biscuits. Those things are great. So without any further ado, we're going to try not to slice our lips on this crappy spoon. Let me get a taste of these beans. Take a look at those guys. Look pretty good. I'm going to give them a little sniff check. They actually smell amazing. They smell way better than that bean dish I had in the Gymnipsa ration. No numb sensation or tingly on the lips. Maybe I just boiled that pouch too hard. I just put a tiny pinhole in it. One never knows. Let's get a bite of this and see what's happening. As much as I'm not a guy that's going to want to sit down and eat a pile of beans for breakfast, this is exactly what the Gymnipsa ration bean dish should have taste like. This has actually got some flavor, a little bit of pork undertones, as if the beans were originally cooked with maybe some pork bones or something like that. But I'll tell you what, that actually tastes pretty good. And there's some gratuitous chicken close-up for you. See, that's what I'm talking about. That chicken's not dry. How the chicken in the last ration that was in the chicken stew was dry, I have no clue. This chicken is perfectly moist, perfectly tender, very likely dark meat. This is an amazing, amazing dish. I really like it. I'm not a big fan of just sitting down and eating a huge pile of beans, but I'm not unhappy with this at all. This is actually really good. Maybe a little bit more food than I would normally consume for breakfast, considering, well, I don't eat breakfast. But I'll tell you what, this has a really, really excellent flavor to it. This spoon could use some work, though. This thing is just crazy. Yeah, I would take a actual Ukrainian ration all day before I mess with that Gymnipsa thing. And on that note, you guys know what time it is. It's time to get a sip of that coffee. If you're not drinking coffee for breakfast, you're probably a loser. In your mom's basement, watching this video, there's dirty socks on the floor. You don't even know how to keep your room clean. Things are messed up, and why? Why would that be? Why are you in such a sad state of affairs? Because you're not drinking a goddamn cup of coffee in the morning for breakfast. You really need to fix yourself. If you're not having a cup of coffee, it'll make you more successful. It'll make you a better human being. It brings you closer to the Creator, because that's what coffee does. At least I hope that this coffee will bring me a little closer to the Creator this morning. Maybe I spoke too soon. I just get excited about coffee. You guys know how I am. So we're going in for a big old sip of this Ukrainian coffee. Okay. That coffee's kind of on the weak side. What I can say, if I would have made it with about half as much water, it would have been much better. It's a very smooth, non-acidic coffee, which kind of depresses me because I like a little bite to my coffee. But it is pretty decent. It's leagues above what I just had in the Gymnipsa ration. That's a decent cup of coffee. I wish they would have given you 2 packs of coffee, 2 packs of sugar, and some cream for breakfast, but they did not. but that is certainly acceptable. I'm absolutely going to finish that coffee. It actually has a nice taste to it. A little on the weak side for me. I could have fixed that. I'm going right back in for another sip of that for all the aforementioned reasons, which I will not repeat, just to keep the video down to a reasonable length of time. But you'll still be a better person if you drink coffee, and you know it. So let's check out one of these big old biscuits. These do look a little different than the ones that come in Polish rations because I don't see any fennel seeds chilling in there. That kind of makes me sad a little bit, but let's get a bite of this. See what this tastes like. Oh, those are, wow. You can tell Ukraine and Russia are neighbors because they're stale as hell. Now, I will say these are just stale and in no stage of rancidity like Russian crackers tend to come. But buyer beware. If you get a Ukrainian ration, you better watch your teeth because that was quite something else to bite into. It's still a good cracker or biscuit, kind of on the plain side. Definitely needs some of this main to help liven it up a bit. Oh, that's totally where it's at. These biscuits are super plain, but they're so stale and crunchy. Well, they're almost chewy, crunchy, hard, like bricks, but whatever. The packaging on those crackers are really what kills them. If they'd have put that in some better packaging, like a Mylar bag or something, these would probably still be perfectly fresh and a really good addition to breakfast. So this is what a bean dish is supposed to be. It's actually really good. The fact that it didn't have a flameless ration heater is a little bit of a bummer. I can't imagine you're expected to eat this cold, so that's kind of a bitch, but I heated it up. I'm really glad that I did. Even though this tastes really good, I can't imagine this would be excellent cold. I really enjoy the bites where I get a nice big piece of chicken. It's actually really good chicken. This is everything the other bean dishes in that Chimnitsa ration should have been. Just as a side note, I do want to warn you guys, there's a lot of scammy stuff going on out there with Ukrainian rations. So if you see this video and you decide you want to order one, do not trust the fact that the seller says they're in some place like New York or New Jersey or California. They're probably not. They're probably over in Ukraine. That's what happened to me on this ration. My expected delivery date was like, I don't know, 4 days after I hit the buy button, and this thing took weeks to get here because it was actually shipping out of Ukraine. I was lucky enough to actually get this ration, but there is a lot of scammy stuff going on out there. So just use common sense and try to protect your wallet. I can tell you, I'm happy to get a ration that's at least off to a good start. Nothing broke in the package, and this meal is actually really good. I mean, that's a great start to the day when you get a meal that actually tastes good and you're not just sitting here complaining about it the entire time. Believe it or not, I really don't like complaining about these things. I'd much rather get great rations all the time. But that's the ration game. Sometimes you get a great ration, and sometimes you get a horrible ration. And we're just going to talk about it. And I'm just going to be honest with you, because that's my style. If it sucks, you're going to hear about how it sucks. And if it's great, you're going to hear about how it's great. And if it's mediocre, well, we're going to talk about that too. Well, we're off to a hell of a good start. Really good main for breakfast. Not my normal choice, but damn, it was pretty good. Coffee was certainly acceptable. Leagues above what we had in that other Ukrainian ration. I might nibble on that biscuit a little bit, but I'll be honest with you, this early in the morning, 350 grams of beans and chicken has got me full to the brim. We will check out this moist towelette. If we get one with every meal, we've already reviewed this thing, so unless I make a complete mess out of myself, we shouldn't need to check another one of these out. So this is relatively small in its own way, stretchy. You could probably make some rope out of that thing. It's decently strong. Smells kind of decent. Smells like a not so stinky grandma. That's not too bad. You know, some of the other ones just smell like, you know, nasty grandma. This smells kind of like nice grandma. That's not too bad. Apparently in Ukraine, grandmas smell better than average. Oh, this thing is really small, and if you have big paws like I do, good luck trying to clean up with this thing. This is certainly not a butt wiper either. I guess maybe you'd have to like find some way to fold these two together in some kind of crazy origami to be able to wipe your ass. But that was breakfast, guys. I will be back in 3 or 4 hours. We will see what's for lunch. We'll get it out onto a tray. We'll heat it up. We'll put it in our face hole. We'll see what's happening. I'm in a pretty good mood today, guys. I will see you guys at lunchtime. Alright guys, welcome back to lunch. I decided, since both of the bags said dinner on it, I figured I would go with the heavier one. I don't know why. Like, I guess maybe I just wanted to punish myself, the funishment, like F-U-N, funishment. We're gonna have some funishment for lunch. I did not check the contents of the bags individually, so we are gonna unpack this one together. So... we have like a balled up napkin. I was like half expecting to already see a booger in that one. We have a napkin. We have another one of these less than awesome spoons. we have this is really dry, really crusty bread in a bag. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Good God, that's heavy. That is a really hefty sack. That is 500 grams of pea soup with pork. I have a feeling that those stale-ass bread chunks are going in this pea soup pork. We'll find that out in a minute. But just to emphasize how heavy this thing is, that is honking. And we have 350 grams of buckwheat porridge with beef. So let me get this straight. At one meal in the day, you are, I guess, expected to, or you have the potential of eating 500 grams of pea soup with pork and 350 grams of buckwheat and meat. Good God almighty. That's feeding a guy. If this is halfway edible, that is literally a metric shit ton of food. I don't care if you like it or not. That's a lot of food for one meal. That's absolutely crazy. I'm hoping I'm not screwing the pooch and like the last meal of the day is just like a bunch of side items. I'm pretty sure after this meal, at dinner time, I will give zero shits that there's not a lot of food in that bag. Looks like we have a nice Ceylon black tea, which is always excellent. And we have some apple jam, kind of like in the Russian rations. This is a much smaller package. It's apple. I'm pretty sure it'll be okay. We'll check it out here in a minute. Apple jam. Looks like we have some pepper. Thank goodness. We definitely are going to need some pepper with all this stuff going on. We have more crackers to go with our already stale bread. They're going to go great with this big old bucket of soup they expect you to eat. Holy moly. And we have another Morse towelette, which certainly will very likely be needed given all the soup that I'm about to consume. We have 2 packs of sugar. That's always nice. Get a nice sweet tea going on. And it does look like we have another package of salt. We're going to go chuck these in a pot. We're going to boil them until they're screaming hot, and we will be right back. All right, well, thank God you guys weren't with me when I was carrying these downstairs from the kitchen, because I was crying like a girl. These things are super hot. I was like scalding my hands. Fingertips might look a little red, and there's a good reason for that. Needless to say, our kasha and our pea soup is extremely hot. We're going to get on this tea. One thing I am noticing, I was complaining about the lack of cold drinks in the last Ukrainian ration, the one that was put together by Gymnipsa. Thus far, this Ukrainian ration has 0 cold drinks. So maybe that's a Ukrainian thing, not a Gymnipsa thing. So sorry if I was shitting on your parade, Gymnipsa, but it's probably not your... Well, the tea tag went right in there. That tea's looking pretty good. We're going to go ahead and slam this sugar right in there. Sugar me twice, why not? Why not get the double dose of diabetes? Who doesn't need some little extra diabetes? I certainly apparently do. So we're going to chuck a ton of sugar in that tea, because that's how we roll. There's not much else sweet. We do have this apple jam, which is a nice sweet treat. It's the first sweet thing I've seen in the ration. So we'll definitely enjoy that with some probably really stale-ass crackers. And we'll save those dried out bread hunks for the main dishes. Speaking of main dishes, there is no way possible I am going to have enough room on this tray for 500 grams of pea soup with pork. So we're going to have to get out our trusty ration cup to help us out with that. So let's check out. God, let's check out this pea soup as it splashes all over the table. Let's let the nose get a sniff of that. You know, I gotta say, that has a lot of fat going on in there, looking pretty good in there. That looks pretty yummy. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting more of a green color, but that is not green in color at all. 500 grams of pea porky goodness right there. It actually just kind of looks like stewed pork with a little bit of vegetables in it. How about we pretend we know what we're doing, and we'll just put that in the mess cup, leave it in the mess cup, and move the mess cup out of the way for right now. We'll let that scorch the ration table, and we'll get this kasha out onto the tray. Well, that's looking nice and healthy. Actually, it is really actually looking nice and healthy. Look at that. 350 grams of buckwheat. Nothing wrong with that. I'm digging it. This is a lot of food. Holy shit. So let's bust out these crackers, because you know you want me to. Everybody loves crackers. And these feel pretty, well, they feel just as stale as the last batch. That's always a shame. It is what it is. That's the ration game. You're going to get some stale-ass crackers from time to time. Now, this stuff I have seen reviewed before, and these are just like enormous croutons. Check out one of those guys, like the biggest crouton you ever did see. Let's just try to get a nibble of that, see if my teeth can withstand the crouton action. It is a really big rye bread crouton, and even for a crouton, it's stale. So I think we're going to start right out by getting a couple of these guys just soaking away over here in this pea and pork soup. This was definitely almost an episode of Ration Nerd Goes to the Dentist. Anyway, let's check out some of this beef and buckwheat kasha. Obviously, we have a lot of buckwheat floating around in here. I do see a little bit of beef. I'm not seeing a ton. There is some minced throughout. There's a larger chunk here. Looks pretty decent. Looks like a decent quality beef. And we have some carrots. Looks like we have a few tiny little onion flakes floating around in here. This is pretty basic Eastern European fare. So let's dive right in. Let's get a bite of this beef and buckwheat. Take a look at that. And that's very good. Could use a little salt and pepper, but it has all of its own flavor. Definitely taste the beef. Definitely taste the buckwheat. It's very, very beefy, almost as if there was some beef bouillon added to this while they were cooking it, which totally isn't a bad thing. This actually has a really good flavor to it. This is the complete opposite of that Jamipsa ration. Like, this is a very flavorful food. I got a big old bite of beef in that one. Really soft, really tender, nice and juicy, not dry at all. That's what kasha is supposed to be. Nice fat content, but it does not have a greasy mouthfeel, and that's excellent. Like, I'm just sitting here like smashing this, not even paying attention to the soup. Maybe I should get onto that. All right, let's see if I can't try some of the soup without making an absolute mess out of myself. We definitely have some nice hunks of pork in there, some potatoes, carrots. I haven't seen any whole peas yet. I wonder if this is more just like a pea meal, you know, just like ground up peas that were up there was that might have been a pea. Looks like we might have some yellow peas floating around in here, but by and large it looks like the peas are ground up, possibly to form this like thick stew like sauce that it's in. But carrots, potatoes, pork, some seasoning. I'm hoping this tastes good. If they didn't salt this properly, this could be really bland and really boring. Check out that a pea pork soup action. And that's very interesting. It has a very smoky pork flavor to go along with the pea flavor. If you don't like peas, you very likely would not like this. It's almost like a bean broth, but again, this definitely could use some salt and pepper. So I'm a little sad I only have one pack of salt and pepper to split between these two. But even without salt and pepper, I could totally eat this. This is actually pretty decent. I'm going to try out some of this pork here, see if that changes my mind. Well, not at all. That was even better than the first bite. I had to get some of that pork and some potatoes in there. Really nice piece of seasoning just chilling in that broth right there. It looks like maybe a sprig of rosemary or something. Not sure what that is, but this soup is pretty damn good. That was definitely rosemary. I'm not normally a rosemary fan. All the seasonings they have in this really work. Really good fat content to this soup. I hope that translates on the camera. I'm going to try to hold this up for you. If you can see the fat separation in there, this is pretty darn hot, but that's always a good sign. Nice natural food. I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat all this. I'm going to give it hell. Let's get one of these big old sopped up wet croutons going on. That's kind of not sexy, but we're going to try it anyway. I don't know. This whole stale bread thing, maybe if I make them smaller or something, then they have more of a chance to sit in there and soak up some of that soup. Like these just big old croutons, they're not just stale bread in the sense that they're croutons. They are croutons that are definitely stale. And this ration's in date, so I'm not really getting it with the stale bread and the stale crackers, because these definitely seem like they're stale. Let me get a nibble. We'll find out. Oh yeah. Too many of these rations and I would be headed for the dentist. Good God. That's a nice stale cracker. That would be a nice, excellent, thick, hardtack-like biscuit to have with any meal. The flavor is very neutral, which is nice, but they're hard as hell. Like, that's definitely like a rock buster. Like, you could really screw your teeth up on these. Buyer beware. You get into a Ukrainian ration, you get into these crackers, or those stale-ass croutons, watch your teeth. So we're going to split the salt and pepper between the two dishes because neither one of them really need a whole lot of either. The flavor would just be enhanced by adding a little bit to both, so that's what we're going to do. We should really get a sip of this tea and give it a try. This Ceylon black tea. That's a really nice mild tea. Given that Ukraine and Russia are literally neighbors, I expected the tea to be just like the Russian tea. It's not nearly as strong. Quite honestly, I like this tea a little better. It's very nice, very robust, but without being overly strong. So it is pretty sweet given the fact that I put 2 packs of sugar in it. But the Russian tea, like they give you 5 million grams of sugar in a ration because you kind of need it to sweeten the tea. This, with the sugar that's in it, is very sweet. Tea is still nice and strong. This is a good quality black tea. Oh, That's so good. Like, I've had a bunch of Russian rations, and every once in a while, you'll get a kasha in a Russian ration that's this good. This is literally like just like or better than the best Russian kasha I've had. This has a really amazing flavor. This is nice and easy to eat. Very savory, very hearty, but really stick to your ribs food. This is excellent. I mean, the main items, which there is a hell of a lot of food here if I haven't already said that, the main items just kind of made me gloss over the fact that these are stale and just about worthless. And these are stale enough that you really have to be careful with. Aside from that, and the crazy lack of cold drinks, does nobody in Ukraine ever want to have a cold drink? I'm going to try adding a little bit of this soup to the kasha. I think they would go really well together. And obviously, because I like to make a goddamn mess, take a peek at that big mess going in. I don't know. The pea soup kind of dumbs down the kasha flavor, which is a real bummer. They're not bad mixed together. I just wouldn't recommend it. I would eat them separately. Good God. This is so much food. I'm persevering, though. I'm really giving it hell. For you guys. It's all for you. It's not for me and my strange obsession with rations and foreign food. It has nothing to do with the fact that I just kind of want to see if I can eat 850 grams of Ukrainian mains. The struggle is real, guys. Like, for real. If you're going to struggle to eat something, at least let it be something tasty. And this is certainly that all day long. I was about to chuck this spoon down on the tray in some, like, dramatic sense of accomplishment, like, haha, I finished. No, I really didn't. There's a whole lot of soup left. There was like a whole hunk of potato chilling in my beard. I'm still thinking on that whole beard cam thing. That might be a really good idea. I'm not sure if I should be happy about it, but I totally did it. That was 850 grams of Ukrainian goodness. I really don't know if I'm going to be able to get up and walk away from the table, but pinky's out. There's a big part of me that wants to save this apple jam for dinner, but I put it out on the tray, and I'm not one to tease. You know, if I stick it out there for you, I'm gonna give it to you, baby. So let's get into this apple jam as it's fighting me every step of the way to open it up. Let's slice some more Ration Nerds fingers off while we're opening this up. All right, and let's get a stale ass cracker because that's all we have. And let's check out, ooh, that's more like an apple jelly. It's a much different consistency than the Russian apple butter or apple jam that I'm accustomed to. That is definitely much thinner. I'll try to get a bite of this cracker without breaking one of my teeth. Oh, wow. That's amazing. That is so much different than the Russian. That is so sweet. Hang on for a second. Oh, that is amazing. There are some things that I get in foreign rations that just amaze the hell out of me, and this is one of them. It does have an apple flavor, but that is not the predominant flavor. This is very sweet, almost floral, kind of like a mixture between apples and flowers. It's the craziest taste. It is absolutely excellent. This is almost like a decadent item. Like, this should be on some crazy shortbread cookie or something, not on this stale-ass biscuit. But stale-ass biscuits is what we have. I really hope there's another pack of this in the ration. I'm so full right now. It's not even funny, but this tastes so good. I just can't help myself. Well, everybody, that was lunch. It was really good. I'm so full right now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with myself between now and dinner. I'm not sure if I should lay on the floor and cry, or if I should go take a walk. Neither one of them sound like a great idea. I'm so packed full of food right now. I will see you guys back here for dinner for the wrap-up of this ration. God damn, that jam was good. Seriously, if you're from Ukraine and you know where to get this jam, here, let me hold it up for you. If you know where to get this jam, Ration Nerd needs more of that jam. Send me an email. All right, everybody, we are back with dinner, and I gotta tell you what, I'm not exactly ready for dinner, and you can tell because this is the second time I've tried to film this. I will probably put an outtake in here at the end of me trying to open this bag and the contents just flying out all over the table. That was kind of fun. But let me just say this. The Ukrainians really do know how to feed a person for a day. This is pearl barley with pork and vegetables. I've already heated it up just to save some time. We've got another black tea, some sugar, some more stale croutons, some more stale crackers, neither of which I'm very excited about. We have a pack of honey, which, well, honey is awesome usually, so honey could be awesome. It is a damn shame that I don't have some fresh crackers to put that honey on. I was really hoping for another one of those apple jams. That stuff was off the hook amazing, but it was not to be. We definitely got the honey. We also have a pack of salt. I did not see a pack of pepper. It could be floating around here somewhere on the ration table when that whole thing exploded on me, And of course, you get your really crappy napkin and your really thin spoon to go with this guy. Since dinner has already been heated up, we are going to go ahead and get that tea made. My only real complaint with this ration is the stale bread and the lack of cold drinks. The hot drinks have been pretty decent. Coffee wasn't hateful. Not the best on the planet, but it was still pretty decent. Cream would have made it 100% better. And after running through some of the comments that I have been getting, especially from somebody who's actually in the Ukraine, asking me why I didn't like the Gymnipsa ration so much, the bottom line is, guys, everybody's taste buds are different. One man's trash is another man's treasure, and that goes for food, that goes for everything. So this is just my opinion. I have kind of like what I think are median taste buds, like it doesn't have to be crazy spicy or crazy seasoned. However, I could be completely wrong compared to somebody in Ukraine. Maybe my taste buds are absolutely crazy. A Dunkin', that tea bag. You know, you like to watch me dunk the tea bag. You want to watch me tea bag that big hole. I mean, that hole, the top of the cup, there's a big hole. Tea bagging that hole on camera, and YouTube's not even censoring me. It's an amazing day. Anyway, so let's check out this stale bread. You know, we got some light croutons. That's awesome. I'm imagining those are probably going to destroy my teeth. Let's give one of those a little nibble. Nibble is a very strong word. The light croutons are not stale, but they're actually kind of pleasant. They're very crunchy. They're not threatening to like rip the teeth out of my mouth. It is a plain, unseasoned crouton. That's actually not too bad. And these are just as stale as you want to be. Yep, those are totally stale. That's all right. We'll pour a bunch of honey on them. That ought to get a little better. Now let's crack into this main. Pearled barley with pork and vegetables. It smells good. Tell you what, the mains in this ration have been really yummy. So I'm not expecting anything different from this main. I hope it's not going to disappoint me. And this is a 350 gram main. Not nearly what I wanted to like try to embark on for dinner. After having 850 grams of food that I stuffed in my face at lunchtime, this literally looks like a mountain I'm trying to climb. We're just going to tuck right in and see what we have with this pearled barley, pork, and vegetables. Take a look at that. Got some nice seasoning hanging around on those carrots. That's pretty good looking, I have to say. You know what? And that does not disappoint. That is very good. The grains are very soft and creamy. Carrots have a nice, distinct, individual flavor. Can't put my finger on exactly what seasoning I just ate. I just know it was really good. We have some decent sized pieces of pork in here. I really do like the fact that this food is seasoned. Like, you don't have to feel like, oh my God, where's the salt and pepper? This food actually has some flavor to it, which is really nice. And that's the point I was trying to make with that last Ukrainian ration, the Gymnipsa stuff. It is just not seasoned well. This is amazing. This is like home cooked food. This is basic and it's simple, but it's really good. Take a look at that pork. Not too shabby. Nice little chunk of pork there. Let's get a bite of that. See, and that's really good. Not dry, nice and moist, and that is a pretty big chunk of pork in any main dish. That's really nice. Good bit of carrots in here. And when they said vegetables, I guess they just meant carrots, which is fine. They could use another veggie or two floating around in here, but you know what? This is a quality meal. I mean, just the pearled barley and carrots by themselves, even minus the pork, are just really yummy. Seasoned really well. This is an excellent main, and that's coming from somebody who's not really hungry. Food changes when it changes temperature and how hungry the person eating it is. So you know something actually tastes good when the person eating the food isn't really hungry, and I can sit here and say, wow, I really actually want to eat this. This creamy sauce that's been formed by the cooking of the grains and the carrots and the pork all together, this is really hearty, really good. This would be an excellent wintertime food. Just really stick to your ribs, just wholesome, like down home type stuff. This is really excellent. Those rye croutons were really sad at lunchtime, which is fine because nobody needed those things at lunchtime. These are actually pretty pleasant. They're very plain, and yeah, it's just a crouton. It's stale bread, but you know what? It is a little something crunchy to add some texture. These are actually pretty decent. We'll add just a touch of salt. It really doesn't need much. Honestly, I could eat it without. I just want to see if we can bring out a little bit of flavor. Try that ever so lightly salted. And just that little bit of salt really brings out all the flavors. That's really excellent. That's a really great main. And this is one of the reasons why I always make sure I try everything in a ration. Because if I just would have left these croutons sit here on the tray, assuming they were just as stale as the ones from lunch, I wouldn't have realized that these are perfectly edible. The lunchtime ones, well, not so much. These are pretty good. It's a shame I didn't get a fresh pack of crackers to go with these fresh croutons, though. You know, it's funny, these croutons, as plain and unseasoned as they are, the main has enough flavor that just using these for some texture, just a little something crunchy, is really good. Just getting a big old scoop of the main on one of these croutons just gives it some crunch. Does not take away from the flavor of the main, which is actually really amazing. I'm going to be honest with you guys, doing these 24-hour rations all in the same day really is kind of like a food challenge as well as a fun hobby. It's really difficult to eat this much food in a day. At some point in the day, you just hit that absolute full meter. And I was there before I even started eating this, but this is really good. So I could have completely been a satisfied person if I had not had another meal for the rest of the day after that big ass lunch. But either fortunately or unfortunately, this food is really good. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to eat as much of it as I possibly can because you just don't get this every day where I live. As far as like raw calories and protein and energy, this ration certainly has it. That pork is absolutely amazing. You would never know that came out of a retort pouch. I'm still amazed that I'm even getting another bite of this down, but it's just so damn good. That last bite, that's what did him in. That's what killed Ration Nerd. Oh my God. Oh, I did not at all need to eat that last 350 gram main. I just ate it because it was really good. And that absolutely says something. I need to clean the palate with this tea here. And that really is excellent quality black tea. So let's move on to the last item for the ration, which is going to be this 20 gram pack of honey. The only bad part about this is the fact that, well, I only have stale crackers to put it on. We are going to roll with it. Oh, it's nice and crystallized. That is good stuff right there. That is some good looking natural honey. That crystallization generally does not occur with fake honey, so that's always a good sign. I'm going to load it up pretty thick on this cracker because God knows do I need these calories. No, I'm joking. Just because these biscuits are really stale. Take a look at that nice honey on a big old stale biscuit. Let's see what this honey's got going on. That is some amazing tasting honey. It is such a shame these biscuits are stale. I'm so salty and pissed off that those biscuits are stale because that honey is amazing. I'm going to try it on one of these croutons because at least the crouton isn't stale and they're not seasoned, they're plain, so it's just a plain crouton. So it ought to take this honey pretty well. That's maybe a little janky, but I have a feeling that it's going to be pretty acceptable. And I can honestly say that that was pretty amazing. It's almost like having toast with honey on it. That's the flavor profile. Of course, the texture is a little tougher because it's a crouton and not toast, but it's pretty damn close. About as close as you're going to get. And this honey deserves better than those stale ass crackers because it's really amazing, natural tasting honey. This stuff is yummy. It's actually a strange but really good combination of ration components that probably really weren't meant to go together. And I'm going to rescue this honey off of that biscuit. This honey deserves better than that stale ass biscuit. Thank you everyone for joining me here on Ration Nerd yet again for another video. This was a Ukrainian 24-hour menu 2. This was amazing. This had a lot of calories. I'm so full, I'm gonna pop. I can barely talk. I am really stuffed, absolutely stuffed full of food. This was an excellent ration. Had a few problems here and there, but you know what? As far as all the main dish items goes, this thing was amazing, really well done, really high quality food. Are there some things we could have changed about it to make it better? Absolutely. That's probably every ration on the planet. Honestly, my biggest complaint about this ration was some of the stale crackers, the lack of cold drink items. Otherwise, this thing was damn near perfect. Well, there were no ration heating components, but I think that's probably a supply issue thing. They just don't have the supplies. This ration used to have flameless ration heaters in it when it has the retort pouches. So this is probably just, well, wartime. Shit happens. You don't have the items, so you don't put them in the bag. That's a real bummer for a soldier that gets this out in the field. Hopefully they've solved that and given them some other method to heat up all this really yummy food. But if you out there in YouTube land enjoy what I am doing here on this channel, you know how it goes. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Talk to me in the chat because you know you really want to. Wow.
I'm getting really close to 1,000 subs. That makes me a happy ration nerd. You guys keep it coming. I'll keep making videos. You keep meeting me back here on Sundays. We'll do that whole thing where I make the stuff, you watch the stuff, we all do stuff. Awesome sauce. But you guys know what time it is. You absolutely know what time it is. If you can find something cooler than this to eat out in YouTube land with your dirty little fingers, find yourself a ration that you want to eat, you know what to do. You absolutely know exactly what time it is and what to do. Eat them up. Let's just get over it. Let's get into the second dinner and see what we have on the menu. That was fun.